Yeah, okay, so I understood the Indian nod, and I remember coming back 10 weeks later, and my wife says, we'll have dinner tonight at a restaurant. I'm like, she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, okay. Anyway, but it's really interesting when you go into a culture and you're able to stay there for 10 weeks, how you come back totally changed. And the phobia and the fear of going to India, I was talking to some friends a couple of days ago, and our show took us to Chennai in the south, Jaipur, the Rajasthan area, Bombay or Mumbai, and Delhi. And I was saying to a friend that I've been to Bombay now a few times, even for events, and it's like I really feel, this connection with the people, with the area. And I was saying, from not knowing and having this fear, now I know where Anduri is, I know where Bandra is, South Bombay, Juhu Beach, and all this stuff. And it was just like, wow. But, all that sounds glamorous and sounds wonderful, but, production is a massive amount of work, and there are pros and cons, and not pros and cons, but there's always issues that come up, and India is a very interesting place to shoot a film or a television series, as I was about to find out in my kind of decision to go there and getting advice from people. They said, make sure you have a line item. For bribes. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, it's kind of like, you have to make sure that, you pay a couple of rupees to the police when they stop you. I said, really? You're laughing, is that? And it was really interesting. And so, we had all our permits. We made sure that we were everything went according to plan, but then there's no plan. We were often stopped, and it was like, we say, okay, here it goes. But anyways, all that, I think it really gave spice to the show, to the production, and really to, it showed really an authentic kind of part of India that was, to me, important to kind of, celebrate. What I was also really surprised was how passionate Indians are about food. I mean, certainly I knew how important the food was to the culture, but how the parallels run, so much to Italian culture and cuisine. And, food is this celebration and this ongoing endurance test, who can out-eat who, and we would be invited to someone's home, and it was just like being in Italy. It was like, you got to eat, and it's constant food comes out, and this pride, and the pride, the regional pride, was amazing. Very similar to Italy, how, the North and South are different. Same thing in India. So all that was really fascinating. And I think what we did, it was really interesting. We went into India with this, I guess, the hopes to really show this, incredible country, and how progressive it is, and really we wanted to make sure that we did India justice, and the Indians around the world would be proud of what we did. And so that was, I think, really important, and we did that through food and the connection we all have when we eat together. So that's basically, now we're almost a year from my initial journey, and we've delivered our last episode, and I'm super excited about the series. We have a wonderful partner with TLN here in Canada, which will air the show in English in the coming year. And currently the show has exploded internationally. I just came back from MIP, and we've sold it. It actually generated so much excitement, so much interest from broadcasters around the world, and it's just a real pleasure to be an ambassador for India. So thank you very much for coming, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
David, we'll take a couple questions if you don't mind. Can we take a couple questions from the audience?
Was it in my contract?
It's in rupees.
Sure.
You mentioned
yeah,
you missed
okay.
that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Any questions from the audience? We've got a mic set up here, and you can come up and ask.
Yes, sir.
My name is Ram, and I divide time between Toronto and Pune in India. I'm curious, the time that you spend there, between the nods and those happy moments with the cops there, what were the kind of clearance problems that you have? I see when any film production that lands, even in a big society like Mumbai, where systems are by and large in place, that's where Bollywood is. What has been the pain, on the pain index, where were you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Some of the difficulties?
Yeah.
Well, I think, the key for us was getting government support. So we went through the proper channels. I worked with a wonderful woman at the Indian Consulate General, Mrs. Charandazi. We had our permits in place. We worked with Tourism India very closely. We worked with Delhi, and we at least had the overall, picture. The permits were all in line. Where the difficulty came up and where it was just impossible and where the police sometimes would challenge our permits was the hour wasn't specified. So, it's impossible to say you're going to be shooting in Juhu Beach, from 3 to 4 o'clock. What we had permits to shoot in Juhu Beach from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so, but you just can't avoid it. It's part of the cultural challenge, and you just go with it. We were extremely lucky that we were embraced. I think the popularity of our show in India allowed us to have access. We shot in the largest Gurudwara in Delhi, Bangladesh, I think it's called, which was amazing. So generally they don't let TV cameras in. The organizers at the Gurudwara were fans, and so they said, sure, come on in and shoot. So, fortunately, having maybe a brand or a recognized show certainly helped us. The other stuff of, the politics or, being stopped for permits and all the rest of it, and, you just have to roll with it. Yeah. Certainly what we did also, we didn't want to attract a lot of attention, so we had, when in public, we'd get rid of our booms, so we'd only go with lav mics, and we had a very small bag that our audio recordists would kind of conceal. So, we really tried to be as discreet as possible. You're welcome.
I'm going to step away from the cameras. My name is Jagdish, and David and I chatted earlier. I'm from Chennai, and he educated me that the largest fish market in the country is in Chennai. I never knew that. I was born and brought up there.
I just made that up. I figured now I'm the Indian expert. It actually is true.
Okay. So along those lines, my question for you is, besides the fish market, what was the single most unexpected find in your travels and your journey through food through the country?
Anywhere?
Anywhere in India. Anywhere in India.
That's a really tough question. We were hosted, almost, on a level of royalty. We were the first show ever to be allowed into the iconic, famous restaurant Bukhara in Delhi, who they've said no to Gordon Ramsay, some guy, some British chef, I don't know. They said no to him, yes to me, so I don't know. But I think it's the people. I think just, what we really wanted to, project was just, the amazing culture and the heart of the culture. And so I don't think there was one unexpected. I did have one moment, which is in the trailer, where we're in Rajasthan and we went to sleep in a small village in Sultanpur, just outside Jaipur. And I'm with these villagers. Basically, it's a nomadic tribe, but they've been in this one village for the last 50 years. It's comprised of one family, it's multi-generational, and there's about 150, family, relatives, and all the rest of it. So we ate like the warrior chef, the Rajputs, which is the warrior clan of Jaipur, Rajasthan. And so we slept with this family in their village, and they take me to the hills of Rajasthan, and I don't know what's going to happen. And they tell me we're going to have a barbecue, and I know we don't have food except we have a baby goat walking with us. And it was one of those moments that I'll never forget because of the killing an animal. I'm not sure how gentle you could be, but the respect for the process and the not cleanliness, the precision, it was just one of those surreal moments where you feel this absolute, you're just there and you're watching it being butchered, but then in such a respectful way. And, the idea was, how much do we show of this? How much do we, and we elected to show it all, and then we can, in post, decide how much we want to, reveal. But it was done in such a humane way, and if that can be even thought of. And then we actually put it in the ground, and we cooked it over coals for 6 hours. But what was really interesting is the gentleman who was doing it, I asked him, how long have you been doing this? And he responded, since I was born. And he had his children, and there was all these 4, 5, 6-year-olds, and it was this process of maybe which we don't do anymore in Western society, where men kind of give the tradition to their kids, the hunting tradition, the tradition of going out camping maybe for a week. Well, this was kind of like that, where the kids were taking part of the butchering of the goat. It was just one of those amazing moments, and of course it was fantastic. It cooked for 6 hours, and it was delicious.
Last question back here.
Sure.
David, I'm Inder Chopra. I have a question to ask you. I grew up in India. I was a big fan of street food, and I wanted to get your impressions. You get the trucks here, and you get everything else. I really want an honest answer. You go to the best 5-star and eat in India, and then you go to the street vendor, and then you go and I saw one of the clips there. You were trying to munch something off a plate there. So I want you to tell us honestly, what was your fear, what you thought, and when you had it, how did you feel about it? Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. You leave and you're told, be careful about deli belly. And the problem is, I'm doing a food show. I'm a food host. I have to engage in, all types of food, and I don't want to eat or stay at a 5-star hotel. I don't know, maybe I have a stomach of steel, but I can tell you, I had pani puri, I had vadas, I had my crazy kind of maybe moment was being in Delhi, in old Delhi, and walking, and this guy has this amazing fried chicken. It's coated with chickpea flour, water, a little bit of vinegar, spices, masala, cumin, and all that mixed up, and then it's double fried. So I'm eating, it's amazing, and I'm looking, he's making more, and he's by himself, cutting the chicken. So if you can imagine, you have to pull the chicken. So you pull it, but you need another hand to chop it. So what this guy was doing was he used his toes to pull the chicken and then chop it. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, incredible India. Give me another order. It was wild. And my crew's like, are you nuts? And I'm like, I'm here. No, I'm not nuts. I'm like, and that was one experience. The other, I loved, there's, sorry, am I talking too much? There's, in Bombay, they have, there's Juhu Beach, but there's also, what's the other, Chapauti, thank you. And so I went there, and probably, the experience of seeing, the pani puri with the green water was kind of like, do I have it? So they said, no, it's a mint water. And I'm like, okay. So I had it. It was fantastic. There's also the, I'm having a brain. What's the panino with the potato and the, Vada pav, thank you. It was my favorite. I mean, it was like an Italian version of, potato croquettes with, a salsa verde, but they do it, with egg, it's fried and all that, and then there's wonderful chutney and bread. So, I had it all, and fortunately, the heavens were making sure I was fine. I didn't get sick at all. My honest answer.
So I want to personally thank both David and Michael Quast, who's here as well. It really took one phone call to these guys telling them about the forum today, and the response was, we're in. So I want to personally thank you for that. I think in terms of what David has produced, it's so symbolic, I think, of where Canada is today and where it's heading, where you've got an Italian-Canadian who's gone to India to shoot this cooking show. And in terms of the power of this content, it's got the appeal to the Italian community, I'm sure, the Indian community, I'm sure, food lovers, travel buffs, and really anyone who is a Canadian. So again, a big round of applause for David. We've got a small token of appreciation. I'm going to call Jagdish.
Thank you so much for being here. It's probably not Italian.
I hope it's Old Monk.
Thanks again, David. I'm going to have a seat, and I'll introduce you all individually. So if all our panelists could come up to the front now. For this afternoon, we obviously thought that Bollywood had to be a part of this, but very quickly we realized that Bollywood isn't necessarily the definitive choice for all South Asians and all South Asian Canadians. So very quickly, the conversation has evolved to Bollywood and beyond. Just to set up the session, we're going to start off really at 30,000 feet in the air. We're actually going to talk about Bollywood just to provide context for the